Tactics are the most important topic of chess at all levels because they dictate the result of all chess games. Yes, all chess games are won, drawn, or lost via tactical reasons. You can argue a case for strategic reasons too, but those are actually also tactical because in order to strategically win a game, there needs to be some sort of tactical weakness. I will discuss 4 tactical weaknesses in this video. For the next video, I will discuss tactical operations. Before I get onto that, let's just briefly define tactics. Tactics are like where you have to make a best move and stay one result ahead. It's where you have only one way to maximize your position's quality. Uh, Tactics are used to win games in a position that is otherwise equal. They are game changers, and again, that actually expounds to why they're the most important thing. Because they happen a lot at all levels. Tactics are fundamental and essential. Okay, let's talk about the 4 tactical weaknesses that can lead to later tactical operations. The first one is the king, exposed king. The second one is the back rank. The third is going to be undefended pieces, or pieces that are attacked overwhelmingly. And then finally, it's going to be trapped pieces, pieces that lack mobility. Let's just say immobilization. Let's discuss the first one, of course, the exposed king. I have prepared a brief example. I don't want to explain it too much, but this is theory. This is Italian game theory. Black should deliver this check, otherwise d5 is killing. So, bishop b4 check, and knight c3, a gambit, allowing black to take this pawn. Now, the point is white is going to castle and give up the knight or like a second pawn, right? So in this position, black has won 2 pawns and he's attacking the rook. It looks like black should just be winning because he's up in material. Not so fast. If we notice the king, he's not castled yet. So white can play bishop a3, giving up this rook, just in the name of denying black the castling rights. Now black is actually almost in trouble. There's only one move that saves the position, which is d5, but white should still be better. In this position, if black takes the rook, trying to be greedy, then white can play rook e1, and now the knight must block. But after we capture the knight, he must give up his queen next. Queen takes, and now after the dust settles, we can see that white is up overwhelmingly in material. And also the king is exposed, and white is easily winning. So black cannot afford to take the rook. He must do something else. But at the end of the day, well, the king is the most important tactical weakness. It doesn't matter that we were down in material. So let's talk about the second weakness. That would be the back rank. Pretty similar to the exposed king. A back rank mate is what I'm going to show on screen right here. White can deliver checkmate by playing his rook to d8, and now the king has no escape, right? This is very fundamentally important because in a lot of middle games, there are some strategic operations that you could have done if your back rank was safe, but because of the fact that your back rank was not safe, you cannot do what you like. Therefore, at some point earlier, maybe you needed to push one of these pawns or maybe move the king in. You needed to do something to give your king room to escape. So that's the second weakness, is back rank. The third tactical weakness is the undefended piece. Let's talk about this example in the French advance right here. So white can play c3, knight c6, let's suppose knight f3, queen b6, and let's suppose white plays this slightly tricky move bishop d3. What do you think after c takes d4, c takes d4? So can black take the pawn? It's attacked twice and it's only defended once, right? It looks like it's safe to take this pawn. If we take the pawn, then we have a problem. Our queen is undefended, and white can actually exploit this, but there's only one way to exploit it. Bishop to b5, attacking the king, and discovery, right? We open the bishop up out of the way so that our queen is prepared to capture their queen the next move. So in this position, black actually had like two tactical weaknesses. The first was an exposed king because we could put him in check. And then the second weakness was the fact that the queen was undefended. See, if the bishop were defending the queen like this or something, then black would just be winning. But the queen is undefended and we can deliver checks, so it just loses. In this position, black should rather play something like bishop d7. And the point of bishop d7 is to threaten to take. Now if white castles aimlessly, then finally we can actually take this pawn and exploit the fact that the weakness undefended or, overwhelmingly attacked focal point is exploitable. Now, white can't really regain his material back, and we are threatening to take a second pawn. So bishop b5 would be bad and useless, and black will have a good game. This example is actually a good illustration, by the way, about the priority of tactical weaknesses. We can see how the king is more important than, say, undefended piece or something like that, or material. The final tactical weakness, like I briefly introduced, is the trapped piece. Let's use this example from the Nimzo Indian. Trapped pieces. Pieces that have no squares to move to, so they can be won via, using pawns. So white can play a3 here, and black should take, and this is theoretical opening. It's playable for both sides. But let's say black plays bishop a5. The problem with bishop a5 is a tactical problem, which is white can trap the bishop by playing his pawn to b4 and his pawn to c5. Now, notice this bishop has nowhere to go, so it's just hanging. White will win the game. He will remain a piece up because the bishop's trapped. So that's a good example. And it happens a lot in middle games where you trap a piece, and even if you cannot win the piece, then sometimes from a strategic point of view, it's actually still good to trap that piece. I will show one more example for trapped piece because it's very fundamental. I could bring up Fischer-Spassky game, but that's actually a more complicated version of this motif that I'm about to show. Okay. In this position, it looks like black to move. Black can gain a pawn, right, and win material. But the problem with this is that the bishop can get trapped via pawn to b3, and now we can capture the bishop next move with our king and remain material up. So this is a very important theme as well. and happens a lot in middle games where there's a pawn on the edge and it can be captured, but if you capture it, then you trap it with your pawn. This sums up all the tactical weaknesses that I can think of. I will just close in with a couple nice opening traps that are worth investigating. So the first is, let's do this one because it's kind of nice example. So this is Sicilian, as we discussed already. White played an interesting move, pawn to c3, and black went knight f6. And white ignores the threat on the e4 pawn by playing bishop b2. The problem for black is if he takes, then black has two tactical weaknesses, and white can win the game immediately. Do you see it? Yes, it's queen to a4, forking the king and the knight. And this will be a good end to this video because this will transition to the tactical operations. This tactical operation is something I will talk about in the next video, the double attack, where you attack two things at once in such a way that only one can be defended at a time and you cannot save both. This is the most important operation, and more about that in the next video. But long story short, black is losing the knight and he remains a piece down, and white should win the game. Thank you. I hope this was helpful. Just remember those 4 tactical weaknesses. Those are the weaknesses that lead to a tactically winning position or tactically lost position.